What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Red Goblin issue number 6. As we come out of the pages of Carnage Reigns, Normie Osborn is getting back to regular life. Or at least as regular as it can be for our new symbiote. That symbiote being Rascal. Now, while Normie is wary of the dangers of bonding with a symbiote, him and Rascal have gotten progressively closer the more Normie uses Rascal's abilities to engage in superheroism. Like saving his grandfather from the Goblin Nation. But the Goblin Nation's power is rising, all thanks to their new Goblin King. That being Phil Urich, with his corpse being resurrected by the regenerative properties of the Goblin formula. The Goblin King is now coming for the Red Goblin. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with the Goblin Nation. They have been hitting banks and everything in between, with the Goblin Nation's newfound power, with this goblin juice coursing through their veins. We are seeing the Goblin Nation on their come up, with them giving all the praise to the Goblin King. But right now, the Goblin King is hiding himself away, because while the goblin juice, it amped everybody else up, it didn't arrest the decay. Not for the Goblin King, and now he is fearing that his authority is crumbling as quickly as his body. And while Kendra is trying to let him know that he is still the king, that he is still the leader, the name they chant is not the Goblin King's, it is hers. She has been doing all of these heists, really setting up the Goblin Nation, but he is telling her it is time to up the ante. He wants the boy Timothy Anders. Now we know why he wants this kid, but he is saying that he wants him under the illusion that his parents are billionaires, and so they can get a ransom for him. And while at first she's a little bit hesitant, not really sure if they want to get into the business of kidnapping and ransoming, this is where he displays her new costume. Kendra is to be the next Goblin Knight, displaying the armor, letting her know that one day she is going to be the Goblin King. But right now, this family, the Goblin Nation, they need a Goblin Knight. That's what takes us over to the American Museum of Natural History. Right now, Normie and his whole class, they are all getting a tour. And while this is happening, we have Normie, who is looking in his subconscious for Rascal, because things have been really weird between them, especially after Cletus Kasady was inside their head. But Normie wants to talk. Rascal, he simply wants to hide away from the sad Normie, because sad Normie only makes angry chemicals, and angry chemicals makes Rascal hurt people. And so he really is doing everything he can to keep his distance from Normie. While they may be bonded together, right now they couldn't be further apart. But this is when the Goblin Knight shows up. In breaking up this little field trip, the Goblin Knight has come for Timothy, and Normie having no idea what the Goblin Nation would want with Tim. It doesn't take long for the Red Goblin to show up. The Goblin Knight in complete disbelief, wondering how the heck Red Goblin even got here and figured out where they were, with the Red Goblin screaming at little Stanley to go home, not wanting his brother to see what he has become, unwilling to cut loose while his little brother is standing in front of him. As all of the children go running, we see the fight break out, with one of the Goblin Nation grabbing hold of Tim. The Goblin Knight and another goon, they stand off against the Red Goblin, and Normie can't help but think to himself, what was Dylan thinking by giving him this symbiote? That there is no world where him giving him a man-eating moon ring would have a happy ending, leaving a monster in charge of a monster. And now, he believes people are going to die because of it. But the Red Goblin doesn't want to fight it any longer. The truth is, he was born into madness. Though he may have wanted a friend, he is seeing that that might have been too much to ask for. With Red Goblin getting the upper hand on the Goblin Knight, we see the Goblin Knight activate some jet shoes, flying them up into the air. we are seeing that the Red Goblin is just mopping the floor with the Goblin Knight. And in the moments before Red Goblin devours the Goblin Knight whole, we see Normie popping his head out of the symbiote, and he is begging for the Goblin Knight to run. And that's exactly what she does. That's where Rascal starts to lose it, saying that Normie needs Tim, that he is going to get her, he is going to kill her. Chasing after her, punching her right through the doorway. When Red Goblin steps on the outside, he is met by guns. He is met by NYPD. This is what takes us back to the sewers, back to the Goblin Nation. They have little Timmy and they are just simply waiting now. While they wait, they discuss on how it was possible that the Red Goblin could have been there within 30 seconds. And while some assume that he might have been waiting for them, the truth is this city is full of heroes. You cannot walk 3 blocks without running into somebody. And so she gives a call to the Goblin King, letting him know that it went bad, that Dash is in bad shape, and that Monster was there, believing that he's a kid. She does let him know that they have the one that they were looking for. As they sit tight and wait for the boss to show up, we learn that the Goblin King has some tricks up his sleeve, as he tells Crossbones to make it look like they turned on each other, make it look very sloppy. Asking what is to be done with the kid, the Goblin King says that it doesn't get much sloppier than a dead hostage. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Another relatively good issue, nothing crazy happening, nothing superb going on, but what we do see is really the evolution of both Rascal and Normie, as they learn to become one, as they learn to deal with each other's emotions. We are learning that Rascal really isn't a violent symbiote, that he has no inclination for eating brains, at least on most days. I guess it really depends on how angry you make him. But for the most part, Rascal is an innocent little symbiote, and Normie's emotions have been driving him crazy. Those sad emotions that Normie is always feeling, the depression that that kid is dealing with on a daily basis. This is not just affecting Normie, but it also affects Rascal, because Rascal will do anything he can if it means making Normie feel better. Whether it be ripping somebody's head off or rescuing their friend Tim, Rascal just wants to help Normie. And it really is one of the most tragically sad things. The simple truth, Normie needs way more help than a little infant symbiote could give him. While their bond definitely is gonna grow, it's definitely gonna help him out along the way. Will that be what is for the best? Cause let's be honest, Normie needs years of psychological therapy. Everything he has been through, everything that he has endured, the potential for him to go down the wrong path, it is there. It is a high probability. And if Rascal is not able to get him to go in the right direction, then Normie could very easily become the monster that he fears. The monster he already thinks himself to be. But poor Normie hasn't even got the opportunity to really stop and think. Because ever since he has gotten Rascal, it has been one conflict after another. Whether it be the Goblin Nation, Carnage, or everything in between. It's gonna be quite interesting to see how they develop. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with Red Goblin, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50. From loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are also getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.